Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. Please subscribe to the channel. Before we begin, I'll give you 2 seconds to hit that subscribe button and help your brother out. Okay, great. If you have subscribed, thank you very much. Now we have a page not found here, obviously, because our tab test scores does not exist. Now it's easy to create this. Let's just go to our views, right click, new file. No need to paste it there, but I wanted to paste it here. Don't forget the .inc.php. Okay, so all we need here is some HTML for a table like this. And what do we do here? So table, and let's put a table row and some table headers. So here all we need is a student name, and then let's duplicate this to score. Okay, that's it. Those are the 2 things we need. Let's add a few classes here. Of course, there's table striped so that we have some lines. There's table hover, and then of course we want this table to be responsive, so we're just going to put a div here. Let's add a class and call this one table responsive. We have to enclose the table inside the div like this. This is pretty much it. Now let me duplicate this. Instead of table header, I will put table data td instead. This is the one row we're going to be looping through in order to add our results. So if I now refresh the page, I should see something like this. Student name, score. Why do I have that outside? It's table row. Oh, I don't know why I put tad instead of td. May have clicked the A by mistake. And there we go. I think you can actually add a label here. I'm not sure. Is it label? Student scores. Let's see here. Not really what I'm looking for. Let's see. Table label. Or is it table title or something? Anyway, what I can do is go to Bootstrap and don't forget to go to Bootstrap when you have issues with these things that with the CSS here. I mean, what I'm looking for is a title. There's a way to title tables here, which I saw previously, but just can't remember how it was done. So table bordered, this is all good, but where is my title? Where the title at? I understand I'm wasting time here, but you may need this. Oh, it's called captions. Yes, that's what I want. See that? Caption, list of users. Okay, so let's copy this caption. Let's put it right here. Let's say student scores. So let's see the beauty of this. So it goes down here, but if you want it up there, I think there's a different class you can add instead. Caption top on the table itself. So here on the table we can add caption top, and that should do the trick. So back here there, refresh, and there we go. Student scores, very nice. Then I should add a back button as well. So let's put a button, and let's put a few classes in it. Button, of course, button small, and then float end, and what else? Button primary, and this one is the back button. So back, if you can add an arrow, a chevy here, chevron, so that would be class fa chevron left, yes, something like this. Let's refresh. All right, so we have a back button here, and the back should go to a specific. Let me get back here for a second and copy one of these A tags back here, and shouldn't be too hard to make use of this. Yes, root, single test, everything okay. Row test ID, that's fine. But then let's remove everything else, and that should be fine. Refresh, back. There we go, very cool. Student scores, back, yes. Okay, now we just need to lay down the information once we are here. Now let's go to single test. Here is this controller, and that's single test. We are looking for that part where the page, we're in the wrong place. Right here, where the page tab is equal to scores, and we can read different information based on that. So we can use the where clause to look for all. Yeah, actually the where clause won't do us much good here. Let me just do this. I'll say student underscore scores, like this. And let's read this from here. So what to do here? Let's see. Student underscore scores is equal to false. So let's start with that, shall we? And then we do student scores again is equal to where are we reading this from? This should be from let's look for a model here. This is the answers model, no, questions model. Which model is the correct one? Let's click here and see answers, no. Questions model, no. Test questions. Wait a second. I want the one that has this answered tests. So it appears I do not have this thing here. However, I have user IDs and I have test IDs. So, and I do have scores as well. So this is interesting. I could get user IDs. That's what I want. So maybe let's create a model real quick. This one is answered tests. So do we have an answered test model? This model? No, we do not. Pager question, none. Okay, so let's just copy the tests model for a second here. Does it have get user? It does, because that's really what I'm looking for there. Oop, I just made a mistake. Okay, so let's copy all of that. Let's go to the models, new, paste, as usual. let's change things a little bit. This one is answered tests. Let's do answered underscore tests module. Yeah, I don't know why I had it on both here. Okay, so answered tests. I think a singular is better for models. So answered test like this, and of course that's the table name. And what columns are allowed for now, because we are not inserting anything using this. Let's ignore this, and this before insert as well, we can ignore that. After select though, that's interesting. If we want the class ID, the get class and get user, we can keep those. We don't need any validation for now because this is not really doing anything. So make school ID, we don't need that function either. Make test ID, we don't need that. We just need get user and get class. Get answered test, we are already in answered tests, so we don't need you. Get to mark count, none of these. Get all submitted tests, we don't need you either. Out. So we just need the get class and get user ID. That's all. So let's just make sure both class ID. Okay, so it's just the test ID here. How do we get a class though? We are looking for where class ID. So this won't work at all. So out, let's remove this one as well. Get class out of my way. Oh, wait a minute. Let's undo. We have a test ID here. So instead of class ID, let's just look for the test ID, the test data. That's all. So get class instead of this one. Which is weird because I don't know how this is even working, because get class is an actual PHP function. Anyway, get test, let's use that, shall we? Data, and this one we should change this to tests model, and change class obviously to test. Test for each test ID, where test ID, row test ID. Yes, this looks interesting. And then get user as well, same thing, user ID, user. Okay, I think we are good here. So let's get answered test back here. So if this is true, let's read it from here actually, so that we don't have to add another if statement at all. So I'm going to cut this part and put it in here, but I want the student score to always be there, so I'll put it right here as false. And yeah, let's move things along, shall we? What am I doing with my life? Okay, so here is answered test be equal to new answered test, like so. And let's get this, put it here, and let's use a let's use query instead. And let's run a query and say select all from answered tests where. Now this is important here. Where are we reading this information to? We want it here. So what we care about is the test ID. So the test ID, and we order by the score. So where test ID is equal to full colon test ID. Oopsie. And then let's say order by score. Now descending is from large to small, so we use descending. And let's figure out what test ID is in this case. Now keep in mind that the test ID is actually in the URL, so which means if we want to add an array here, we'll put square brackets and say test ID. Let's identify it, and then let's put a fat arrow and put ID as a variable, because that's a variable at the top there. Okay, so student scores, we have that. And here, let me just show to see that we are getting a result, which is cool. All right, so we do have one item, yes. And as you can see, it has the information we need. There's the test details here, the class details as well, the user detail, which is very nice. So using this, even though we get all that, all we really need is the student name and the score. So to get the student name, we go to user. Wait, this can't be the student. This is for, oh, this is the test, right? So it has to be in user, first and last name, and then the score is right here. So this is the only information we need for now, even though we're retrieving all of this, but who knows, we may need it in future, and it's just good to have it there. So I'm just going to copy this, go to close the model, let's go to the ink here, and what I want to do is put an if statement first of all. Sorry about that. So if this is true, right, which means it's an array, let's put an end if. So if it is an array, let me move this inward. Let's duplicate this and that and move things inward. This should be easy peasy. Let me change the if to for each, like that, and then we'll do student scores as student as score. So from this score, to get the username, we'll just equal it out like that, but then we'll point to, remember we have a user object in there, and it has first name, and then if we duplicate this, we might just get, let's put a space here, a last name as well. However, on the score, we go directly to score. So copy, and this one is not inside a separate object, so it's just score, like that. Pretty awesome. And let's refresh now. So this is what we get. But of course, let's add %. So no need for other details like test name, whatever that is, because we have the test name here already. So if you want in the answered test model, you can remove this get test, because we don't really need to get test information actually, because we have it already. So let's just remove that. It's redundant, just wasting resources. Save that, and because we'll still get what we want here. So back here, these are the questions and student scores. This one is top of the class, of course. Now in the next video, let's have another student take the same test and see if we have several in this list here. I'll see you then.